Ladies and gentlemen, couples young and seasoned, and every heart that knows the sweetness and the strain of love, today I want to speak not simply about marriage, but about what it means to fight for it. What it means to walk back into the room when everything inside of you wants to walk out. What it means to choose connection in a world of easy disconnection. Today I want to talk about marriage counseling, not as a sign of weakness, failure, or defeat, but as one of the bravest journeys two people can ever choose to take. Marriage, at its heart, is a union of two imperfect human beings. Two personalities, two histories, two sets of fears, hopes, dreams, and insecurities trying their very best to move in harmony. And while love is powerful, love alone is not always enough to prevent missteps. The truth is that marriage is not a fairy tale, it's not a serene picture in a frame or a cinematic montage. Marriage is a daily practice, a constant unfolding, a continuous negotiation of needs and emotions. It is joyous and beautiful, yes, but it is also messy, demanding, and sometimes painfully confronting. And that is precisely why marriage counseling exists, not to shame couples for struggling, but to guide them toward understanding. Not to point out who is right or wrong, but to help them rediscover the we that once felt effortless. Marriage counseling is a bridge, sometimes shaky, sometimes long, but a bridge nonetheless, leading couples back to each other when the distance between them has grown too wide to cross alone. Yet despite the profound value of counseling, there is still stigma surrounding it. Many view entering therapy as an announcement that the marriage has failed. I would argue the opposite. Asking for help is an announcement that the marriage matters. It is a declaration that the relationship is worth fighting for, that the love is worth protecting, and that both partners believe the story they began writing together still deserves a beautiful chapter ahead. Think about it. When something valuable is broken, we try to fix it. When something cherished begins to fade, we try to restore it. And when someone we love is hurting, we try to heal them. Marriage counseling is simply the extension of that natural human instinct to preserve what is precious. But let us be honest. Reaching a point where counseling becomes necessary is rarely easy. By the time couples seek help, they may be carrying years of resentment, emotional distance, or quiet disappointment. They may be struggling beneath the surface, living parallel lives under the same roof. To sit across from a counselor and expose those wounds requires humility, courage, and vulnerability, three qualities that also happen to be the pillars of a strong marriage. Counseling, at its essence, is a structured conversation. It is a safe environment where conflict can be unpacked with purpose rather than with defensiveness or anger. It is a place where listening becomes intentional, where emotions are named rather than suppressed, and where understanding replaces assumptions. Many couples do not struggle because they lack love, they struggle because they lack the tools to communicate love in a way the other can feel. We often assume that because marriage is common, it should be easy. But we forget that every meaningful skill requires learning, practice, and refinement. You cannot become a musician without training. You cannot become a pilot without guidance. You cannot build a business without strategy. Yet many believe they can navigate one of the most complex human relationships without support or education. It is no wonder misunderstandings arise. Marriage is not an instinct, it is an art. And like all art, it benefits from teachers. Counseling gives couples those tools and teaches them how to use them. It teaches patience, the kind that stays present even when emotions are loud. It teaches empathy, the ability to see your partner not as the enemy but as someone who is hurting, too. It teaches resilience, the kind that helps you stand back up together after an argument knocks you down. And perhaps most importantly, it teaches intimacy, not only the physical kind, but the emotional closeness that makes marriage feel like home. But counseling is not simply about solving problems. It is about rediscovering the relationship beneath the problems. It is about remembering why you chose each other in the first place. Many couples enter therapy with the intention of fixing what's broken but leave with something far greater: renewed appreciation, deeper understanding, and a love that has been strengthened through struggle. One of the most beautiful aspects of counseling is that it encourages reflection. It invites couples to look inward as well as outward. It asks questions like, what wounds do I carry that make love harder for me to give? What fears drive my reactions? What unspoken needs are shaping my communication? These are not questions we often stop to ask ourselves, yet they determine the health of our relationships more than any external circumstance ever could. It is often said that marriage reveals who we truly are. And this is true. Marriage reflects our strengths, yes, but it also mirrors our insecurities, our blind spots, and the parts of us that still need healing. Counseling holds that mirror with compassion. It does not judge. It does not shame. It simply helps couples understand themselves so they can understand each other more deeply. But an important truth must be acknowledged: counseling does not save every marriage. It does not guarantee a perfect outcome or promise that love will suddenly feel effortless again. But what it does guarantee is clarity. It gives couples the opportunity to hear each other honestly, to try wholeheartedly, to understand profoundly. And sometimes, that effort rekindles love in ways neither partner expected. Other times, it simply allows them to part with peace instead of bitterness. Both outcomes carry dignity. Still, for many who engage in counseling with open hearts, something extraordinary happens. They begin to communicate not to win, but to understand. They begin to appreciate not what their partner lacks, but what they bring. They begin to see arguments not as signs of incompatibility but as invitations to grow together. They begin to realize that healing is possible, forgiveness is possible, and closeness is possible, when both are willing to try. Marriage counseling reminds us that love is not something we find once and then forget. It must be tended, nurtured, protected, and reaffirmed. It must be watered during dry seasons and shielded during storms. And when the ground feels too dry or too rocky to bear fruit, counseling teaches us how to replant hope. There is something deeply moving about watching a couple in counseling, two people sitting in their vulnerability, facing each other not as adversaries but as teammates, willing to do the uncomfortable work of rebuilding. There is something powerful about seeing them shed years of assumptions, soften their voices, and truly listen, perhaps for the first time in a long time. It is in these moments that marriages are not only repaired, they are reborn. Imagine a future where counseling is viewed not as a last resort but as a normal, healthy practice. Imagine couples seeking guidance not when things are falling apart, but when things are simply changing. Imagine marriage counseling being seen the way we see physical checkups: preventative, necessary, and wise. How many relationships could be strengthened before they reach a breaking point? How many families could be stabilized? How many hearts could be spared unnecessary pain? We must normalize seeking help. We must normalize saying, "We are struggling, but we believe in us enough to try." There is no shame in that. There is only love. Marriage counseling is not reserved for couples in crisis. It is for couples who want to grow. Couples who want to deepen their understanding of each other. Couples who want to strengthen trust, communication, and emotional connection. Counseling is for the newlyweds learning how to merge their lives. It is for the parents overwhelmed by the demands of raising children. It is for the seasoned couples navigating transitions like career shifts, empty nesting, or aging. At every stage, counseling offers tools, perspective, and hope. Because the truth is, relationships do not deteriorate overnight. They deteriorate in silent moments, in spoken hurts, unresolved conflicts, unmet needs, unnoticed bids for affection. Counseling shines a light on those quiet spaces and teaches couples how to fill them with attention instead of avoidance. One of the greatest gifts of counseling is the opportunity to rewrite patterns. Many people carry old emotional habits, defensiveness, withdrawal, people-pleasing, anger, or fear, that stem from childhood or past relationships. These patterns may have protected them at one time, but now they interfere with connection. Counseling gives couples the chance to let go of what no longer serves them and build new patterns rooted in emotional safety and trust. And let us not forget that marriage counseling is not only about problems. It is also about enhancing joy. It is about deepening intimacy, improving communication, and celebrating the strengths of the relationship. It is about learning to speak your partner's love language with intention. It is about understanding the emotional blueprint that shapes how each person gives and receives love. Through counseling, couples often discover a richer, more fulfilling version of their relationship, one marked by authenticity, respect, and emotional depth. So, to the couple who is struggling quietly but afraid to ask for help, know this: counseling is not a sign that your love is weak. It is a sign that your love is worth fighting for. To the partner who feels unappreciated or unheard, counseling can give your voice space and clarity. To the partner who feels overwhelmed by conflict, counseling can help you find peace and understanding. To the couple who fears they may be drifting apart, counseling can help you find your way back. And to every couple, whether thriving or healing, remember this: love is a choice, not a feeling. Feelings fluctuate, but choices shape futures. Counseling helps couples choose each other with intention, compassion, and renewed commitment. Let us end with this truth: a strong marriage is not one that never struggles. A strong marriage is one that refuses to give up. Marriage counseling is not the end of the relationship, it is often the beginning of a deeper one. A wiser one, a kinder one, a relationship forged not in the absence of challenge but in the willingness to overcome it together. So, may we begin to see counseling not as a last resort but as a sacred investment. May we embrace the courage to seek help, the humility to listen, and the resilience to grow. May couples everywhere discover that healing is possible, change is possible, and love, real love, is worth the effort. Marriage is a journey, not a destination. And counseling is one of the most powerful compasses we have. Thank you.